You are listening to Confessions of a Counselor podcast with Janice, mental health in bite-sized chunks. Hello and welcome to Confessions of a Counselor. I'm your host, Janice, and in today's episode, I thought we would dive more into the topic of emotional regulation, specifically the idea of upregulating and downregulating. Okay, let's jump right in. So in terms of regulation, we want to kind of come back to our idea of the window of tolerance. So this is our capacity to handle what's going on in our life. And so if we feel like we're knocked out of our window, we're probably not managing well. We might be having anxiety attacks or in a depressive episode. There might be a lot going on in our lives that we kind of just feel overwhelmed and not able to cope with. So that's kind of the sense of being knocked out of our window. When it comes to our feelings, we kind of want to stay at a baseline, right? So we're not joyful, but we're also not depressed. We're kind of in this sweet spot where everything just kind of feels like it's flowing. Things are positive, but again, not necessarily this kind of like elated joy feeling that we often kind of associate with how we're supposed to be feeling all the time, right? So like we're not at Disneyland all the time. This is just kind of regular, good, everything's kind of moving, flowing. It doesn't really feel like there's like a lot of like kinks or bumps along the way. That's kind of baseline. From there, we can rise into hyper arousal. So again, that's things like joy, anxiety, excitement, anger, right? All of these things bring us from baseline and going up into an activation. So we're being activated by these feelings. And that's kind of why when we're feeling anxious, we need to kind of putter around the house or clean something, or that anger can sometimes lead to explosions because we're being activated in that feeling. If we go from baseline and we go down, that's hypoarousal, right? So I'm now being brought into almost deactivation. So things like apathy, sadness, depression, these types of feelings that feel heavy, we feel low, we kind of just want a potato on the couch. These are the types of feelings that happen in hypoarousal. So when we're talking about emotional regulation, we want to kind of know, am I feeling activated or am I feeling deactivated? And that's going to kind of tell us if we need to upregulate and come back up to that baseline place, or if we need to downregulate and kind of come back down to baseline from that activated place. And this is going to kind of change how we show up, what we do in order to help ourselves. So if I'm in hypoarousal, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling apathetic, I don't really want to move, then I'm going to want to do something activating in order to help me. So I might try and just get up, stand up out of bed. Perhaps I might be able to brush my teeth. If we're feeling really ambitious, maybe I'm going to go for a walk, right? So I'm going to do something that's activating, that gets my body moving, to try and kind of bring that regulation back up closer to that baseline. If I'm feeling really, really activated, then I want to kind of calm my nervous system. I want to regulate and come down regulate. So say I'm feeling anxious, I might want to take a couple of deep breaths. That's going to let my nervous system know I'm okay. Things are okay. So I'm going to down regulate. Right? If I'm feeling really angry, maybe I need to walk away from the situation. I need to remove myself from the activation. So understanding what feeling I'm having, what I'm experiencing, kind of allows us to know, what do I need to do to get back to baseline? So this can be a really helpful indicator as to what we need to do in order to emotionally regulate. So in the next episode, I'll share a couple more tips and tricks on how to regulate. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Confessions of a Counselor podcast is available anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts, both on Apple and Android. New episodes are released every Friday. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to join the conversation, leave a review, or subscribe to the podcast hosted on Spotify. You can find all these details on janicelyons.com. Until next time, take care.